You're listening to the Surgeons of Horror podcast.
But the other guy is Dick Halloran, who's the caretaker of the Overlook Hotel, who is basically leaving it for the winter months. At which point we have Jack Nicholson stepping in as
it's going to be the caretaker over the winter periods whilst the hotel is closed down.
Yeah.
So basically just got to, in the book, he's got to maintain the pressure in the boiler mainly, isn't it?
Take the pressure.
But don't you think any job interview...
We'll get into later on. But
Somatic and insane.
Exactly. And he's a recovering alcoholic, which is, in earlier scenes, at least in this film, is brought into the foreground, knowledge of his past and an incident with Danny.
I did hurt him once, okay? The little fucker had thrown all my papers all over the floor. All I tried to do was pull him up. Completely unintentional. And it was 3 goddamn years ago. It was an accident. Could have happened to anybody. A momentary loss of muscular coordination. Few extra foot-pounds of energy per second.
In which he was...
And I love all that stuff, and that is all that part of it is actually in the book. Like he is somebody who struggles with alcohol, and his temper that kind of rises to the forefront when he is intoxicated.
My goddamn soul. Just a glass of beer.
Yeah, he's basically a teacher who's, but he's trying to, in the film, he's a writer. He's writing the screenplays, what he's trying to do.
He's a writer looking for inspiration.
Lots of ideas. No good ones.
But in the book, he is a novelist who hasn't been very successful, and he's resorted to teaching English, and he kind of keeps ruining what's happened and where his life's gone, and regretting some choices he's made, and alcohol becomes a massive crutch for him. And there's one incident in the book where he and a fellow kind of teacher guy, they're driving home from quite a bit of a bender, and they see a tricycle in the road, and they hit it. The other guy's the one that's driving, not Jack, but they hit the tricycle, and they have this moment of thinking that they've hit a kid. We never know if they did hit a kid or not, because they can't find a body, so they presume it was just a bike that was randomly in the middle of the road. But it's never really proven whether or not it was,
But it shakes them.
Yeah, but it shakes it. And it shakes him enough that he realises he needs to stop. And so
there's not the incident in the book with the breaking of the arm, of Danny's arm?
That does happen too. So that's the thing that I'm going to say Shelley Duvall, because I can't remember her character's name.
Hi, I'm Shelley Duvall.
Shelley Duvall.
Hi, Shelley. Wendy. It's Wendy.
Yes. Oh, Wendy, of course. Wendy, light of my life. I was going to ask if
Nice.
chronology was similar to, in the book, as to the movie before they get to the hotel. Before you get the opening shot, which is fantastic, with them driving along the road to it. But then you'll get the moments of the meeting beforehand when he's actually, before he's got the job.
Yes.
Is it flashbacks like that? Yeah, just wondering about the chronology before they get to the hotel.
It's pretty much in chronological form. So we have all that stuff happen. So there's no kind of flashbacks, And when he goes to the hotel to have an interview, he is on his own. He's not with the family at that point.
Yep.
But Danny gets echoes or picks up what's kind of happening at the time from his dad. So he's able to kind of, and he knows before the dad comes home and announces he's got the job. He knows that he's got the job, and he tells his mum that, that dad's coming home with good news. So
Because
Yeah.
again, that was in the film too. We see that, and that's the first time we see Danny talking to Tony, who's his finger. And interestingly enough, in the audition for that, I don't know if it's exactly true.
You
but I heard-
auditioned for Tony.
No, I didn't audition for that. I would have, yeah, when it came out in 1980, I would have been 5. So, yeah. But in the audition, apparently, it was the actor, I don't know the actor's name at hand, who played Danny, the little boy, but he did that with his finger. That was something that he brought to the audition and they liked.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
No. I heard the same thing. It's Danny Lloyd is the actor.
Danny Lloyd.
Yeah. I heard the same thing. He was the one that just started doing that because, it just kind of sat right with him to do that. Like, because he kind of needed to, well, from his point of view, he kind of needed to disconnect what was going on or give it some kind of presence. So, and that's the thing that struck me. I've read a lot of stuff around Kubrick, and I've watched a lot of his movies, right?
Yeah.
And it never really. Everything's so orchestrated with his movies, and the cinematography, as I've already mentioned, is next to none. Like, it's unfounded. Everything has to be in a certain way, shot in a certain fashion, and it feels so controlled. And yet I've read so many things about how when it comes to the acting side of things, that there's a lot of freedom and ad-libbing, and the whole "here's Johnny" dialogue. Yeah. Is Jack Nicholson ad-libbing. And that it really surprised me to learn that, because I was just like, how does that fit into somebody who is a business, who is so kind of meticulous about what
how
we
can
see
you
on
both be a
screen?
perfectionist and
To me that doesn't marry. I don't know. What do you feel about that as a...
There was very interestingly enough, I was discussing this, I think it was the cinematography, with someone who was studying cinematography at university at the time. Yeah. And they were saying that how Stanley Kubrick did everything, every shot was planned, everything was planned. And I was like, have you seen the behind the scenes documentary that Stanley Kubrick's daughter, Vivian, did? And you see the part where Jack is locked in the kitchen vault in the freezer, and he's doing that to shot below in between his legs, shooting up at his face as he's saying, "Wendy, go and check the comm radios, check it out," haha, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And he says, "What about under here?" And he just sits underneath him with the lens, gets him to do the part again, and he goes, "Yeah, that'll work."
It might be better to just play it as a medium shot with the situation. Yeah, I think maybe.
Let's take that. Can you do with your head down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's not bad. Let's do that. Try that, Jack.
Wendy, listen to me. Let me out of here and I'll forget the whole damn thing. It'll be like it never happened.
You couldn't find some way of sort of not looking at her and looking down as you say the line.
I took from that a lot of the idea of going, everything is planned. Like the amount of people who need to be put together to get on that day, and they all need to know something. We're doing this. Now, a script is usually given for the basis of everything. That's where the starting lot, everything goes. The storyboard, everything comes from that script. Or the book, which is then converted to screenplay. But from that, you'll get on the set on the day, and especially with a director like Stanley Kubrick, who's got his own vision and he's telling his own story. It's not like you're going, a writer is telling a director what to do. He's written his own thing based on The Shining by Stephen King.
Yeah.
And the part of the story which is resonating with him that he's telling, and he knows at least how much he wants that to be seen from where he can see it from. And so a lot of the times when conspiracy theories, especially attached to this film, come from that, same as with when saying everything was planned down to the point. Yes, like they shot that blood coming out of the doors on miniature and did all that because it was what he knew he wanted. He's been working with cameras and taking still photography since he was in his teens, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think that he knows lenses. He knows the hardware at its basis to what to get to do. He knows how he can see it and how he can get a camera to at least emulate as close to that as he can get. So marrying that together with the plan that he's got and the cinematographer who's sitting there going, okay, I know what's happening in sequence.
Yes.
And how we're seeing it, then seeing the rushes at the end of the day going, oh, okay, yep, we've got that, because a lot of his shots don't focus directly on one element of what the film could be about. There are a lot of long shots, there's a lot of long takes, there's a lot of following people through multiple scenes with
Yes.
background and artwork
Yes.
on the walls and photos.
Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Right.
And I think that one failed because Kubrick was going to make the horror movie that was going to be the benchmark horror movie, the one by which other horror movies are judged. And he didn't really know the field, and he didn't take any time to educate himself in the field. So that I think that might be a failure of hubris.